Yeah, we're trying to get you to want to work here, but we're not going to tell you who it is.
Tell you who it is.
But we're going to tell you you want the job, right?
Yeah.
It's big.
So they have to accept the job before they find out who it is?
They
Is that
do
what
not. They do not.
It's like the dating game or something?
It's like the dating game, exactly.
open
Behind
the
the
card.
curtain.
Yeah.
So, no, but
Do they get to ask questions like, is it like, okay, candidate number 2, I need to know, if we were making whoopee, what... What's that? Yeah. Get old school with it. Welcome to Own the Jet by Aspen Aero Group, where we share perspectives from some of the leading voices in private jet ownership and business aviation. I'm your host, Derek Savage, along with my co-host, Jason Spoor, president of Aspen Aero Group. Our guest today is Linda Frankl from ADK Consulting and Executive Search. Linda is a master at helping companies find the right people to manage their aircraft operations. Join us as we dive deep into the mechanics, mindset, and moments that define jet ownership. And together, we'll learn what it takes to own the jet. Our guest today is Linda Frankl from ADK Consulting and Executive Search. Linda is a master at helping companies find leaders to manage their aircraft. Welcome, Linda. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Happy to be here and look forward to the conversation to talk about ADK and how we can assist you, as well as just talking about aviation in general. It's such a it's a subject that everybody gets fueled by, right? So I mean, once you're in it, I mean, you live it, and I think our firm is one that has a number of individuals that have spent many years in the aviation field, myself included, and we just want to continue to see people, excel, people, fulfill their, mission and interest in life. And so we're here to help them. We're here to help companies and people.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, because, the audience and I don't know a whole lot about ADK and what you guys do. So if you can start there and just kind of give me an overview of ADK, who you help, what you help them do, and maybe even both sides of that equation.
Okay. So just kind of going back to the origination of ADK Consulting, our founders worked for UPS. And one of the initial
that was my first job. I worked for UPS.
You worked for UPS? Oh,
yeah.
You wore the brown suit?
No. I was in the hub, like
sorting stuff,
shucking packages. Yeah. But yeah, that was 17 years old, first job. That was hard work. Anyway, I'm sure your founder did not do that.
Well, he was one of the initial hires with the company, and did a number of different things, including public relations and affairs. And he retired from UPS in Louisville. Okay. And the Louisville Airport Authority was looking for a new leader. Okay. And they reached out to him and said, "Hey, can you help us? You know aviation, you know the industry, you know people. Mm-hmm. We're looking for a good executive director, president, CEO for our airport authority." Okay. And,
so he was somebody that knew people from their perspective, right?
Yes.
He knew who to go to.
He knew who to go to. Gotcha. So he then started a national recruitment for an executive director for Louisville Airport Authority. Mm-hmm. And from that, he got to know a number of leaders in the industry. And then it often happens is when the leader was selected for Louisville, then the airport authority where he left from contacted him and said, "Can you do a search for us?" Gotcha. And so then the business built. It snowballed. Yep. And nice. So then 4 or 5 years later, he started doing, a multitude of searches throughout the year. And his wife said, maybe you need some assistance. Or actually, he said, "I need some assistance." And so they joined together as a husband and wife, ownership of ADK Executive Search and Consulting. I joined them then in 2011. And so I was the third official member of the team. And then now we have 25 dedicated individuals with numerous backgrounds in aviation, or array of backgrounds in aviation, multiple years, as well as other industries. Nice. Whether it's in recruiting or marketing, real estate, business development, those types of things. So
you don't just work in that corporate aviation space, business jet space. There are other people that you serve outside of that.
I would say our niche is aviation industry. So that's where we, I think, have excelled.
Yeah.
Is we got started primarily with airports, and then now we have expanded that to an aviation landscape for the most part. So all those...
So like marketing people for the airport, et cetera, et cetera.
We do that as well. Those are executive leaders for airports, but also, the tenants, operators, the consultants, the concessionaires, the other entities that are in an airport arena, FBOs. We've done searches for FBO managers as well.
So for me, the uninitiated, what's an FBO?
Oh, it's a fixed base operator.
Okay.
So
And
it
that
is where
means-
those private jets are basing their plane often, or storing their plane in a hangar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or fuel. They're
Fuel.
purchasing fuel from the FBO. So,
But that's at a larger airport? Is that how that
really,
works?
it's
Every airport has an FBO.
Yeah,
Well,
most airports have
large.
some type of airport
It's the club.
FBO.
It's a
because
private club.
If you want
Okay.
to buy fuel, you have to have an FBO.
Okay.
So if you need to purchase fuel, you're going to have an FBO.
But you do hiring for them, or not hiring, but like...
we have hired leaders for it, and again, it's most of
Yeah.
our searches have been for the senior leaders for organizations or businesses. Outside of for in private aviation, what's interesting is that a company, a corporation that owns a jet, whether they may be in manufacturing or insurance, private equity, commercial development, they know that business well.
Yeah.
But there's the likelihood that they don't know aviation or connect to aviation well.
Okay.
So where ADK can assist them is we have individuals that are connected into that discipline, into that landscape.
Gotcha.
Our team members attend conferences. We have a network of over 100,000 individuals that are specific to aviation that we reach out to. We have researchers on our team, sourcers on our team. We get connected.
so going back to, corporations, individuals with jets then. So you're looking to backfill or place director level.
Director of Aviations for that fleet or organization for their chief pilot and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Sometimes their chief pilot is also their director of aviation, but it's more the director of aviation who understands business, understands regulatory requirements, understands operational efficiencies, as well as motivating and leading others.
Yeah. Now, Jason, you've seen this from the corporate side.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like your background, for people that don't know, you're director of aviation for Google, among other companies.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit with, what are the needs of companies like that when it comes to, finding the right people?
Yeah, so very critical, right? Of course, aviation is kind of, like you just mentioned, kind of removed from, whatever the corporation does. And the language that's spoken there and the way things are handled is different, from everything from how we schedule people to how we do vacations and planning, right? So when corporations go to look for this, it's great to have a source like her, because you can get multiple different people to look at and see if their culture is going to fit.
And that's key, is that are they a cultural fit, in the sense of, our company also recognizes that many of these private entities, they want confidentiality.
Okay.
And it is complicated when you're trying to entice individuals to come to work for a company without being able to be provided their name, their location. Really, you can tell them a little bit about their fleet mix, but not, everything about
So we're trying to get you to want to work here, but we're not going to tell you who it
Tell
is.
you who it is.
But we're going to tell you you want the job, right?
Yeah.
It's big. It's
So they have to accept the job before they find out who it is?
They
Is that
do
what
not. They do not.
It's
But
like the
to get
dating
them-
game or
It's
something?
like the dating game,
you
exactly.
open
Behind
the
the
card,
curtain.
Yeah.
So no, but
Do they get to ask questions like, is it like, okay, candidate number 2, I need to know, if we were making whoopee, what? What's that? Yeah. Get old school with it. But yeah, how do you do that? I mean, if you found someone that's like, hey, this person is like rock star director of aviation, executive level person, and they would be a great match for Corporation X.
We talk to them in the sense of, we reach out to them and say, what are you looking for? What would entice you? What type of business excites you? where do you see yourself? And then we learn from them what if it is a match. So we've already talked to the client what specifically they're looking for, and then we talk to potential candidates about what is their experience, what experience level do they have, and what are they looking for, to see if it might be a close match. And then we can have more conversations. One of the other things, we have a lot of high touch in our specific recruiting firm. We have lots of conversations with the client and the candidate. We're kind of our role is to be an effective communicator. We asked candidates to do a self-directed video, and that's to give them the opportunity to tell their story. So we ask some simple questions of them, just kind of like we're here today.
Yeah.
And we tell,
so people are doing their best TikTok
so they're doing
sort
their
of thing.
best TikTok, exactly. So some have gotten pretty creative.
I was gonna say, what's the weirdest, funniest thing you've ever seen in one of those?
Oh, we see odd things, and but I will say I was shocked to see. We often see people swear, but that that might fit someone's culture and that might not. Right. So it's it's a risk, but sometimes it's a good risk.
Yeah.
But one time we saw a guy and he was kind of fumbling over his words, and then he drinks his beer, and we're like, but you have the opportunity to save this, and you did, because you can save or retake.
Yeah.
And he actually saved it. So
he's like this is
maybe he felt like maybe he felt like after thinking about this might not be the right fit. So go ahead.
But I think afterwards, if they catch him drinking on the job or whatever, it's like you knew what you were getting. Yeah, exactly. I didn't hide anything from you.
Yes, exactly. So no, but so that's an opportunity for someone, like I said, to tell their story, and for the client to see if they might be a cultural fit. But we also caution our clients to not just put all their focus on that touch point of a video recording. Some people can be real uncomfortable with it.
Yeah,
they might be too stiff, or they may be too casual. But the in-person conversations always go a lot better.
Nice. So what are some of the biggest challenges, like finding these? Because this has to be a super niche sort of like thing to find the right people for the right jobs, or do you find it being the other way, where you've got just a flood of people looking for jobs and not enough people looking for them?
Well, would you agree the aviation industry is a small industry?
It's a very small industry, and especially now. I mean, it seems like, of course, the airlines are sucking up a lot of pilots and a lot of talent. And so when it comes down to the business jet world, the corporate world, finding qualified and good people is a tough thing.
And we actually try as a company, and I think many businesses do today, we try to help be a coach, a mentor, developer of individuals that are interested in aviation, to try to get those pilots or those people that are interested in aviation administration at a young age, and to let them learn that aviation is a great field to be in.
Yeah.
And so we kind of participate in those types of things as well. But the aviation industry is a very small industry. We feel like we have a great reach. Our company does. We are very active in the industry. Whether, like I think I mentioned, we attend a lot of conferences.
Well, yeah, that's where we met you guys. At a conference. It was MBAA conference in Columbus. Yeah. So if I'm owning the jet, right? Let's say I'm some rich guy with a company or whatever. I'm coming to you and saying, like, staff up my crew, right? Or it's like, is that what it is? Like
we can help primarily with the executive leadership to the greater degree than all of the team members that might go behind that business. Whether you're hiring other pilots, whether you're hiring mechanics, whether you're hiring customer experience individuals, we don't really work in that discipline, but we can find you connections, and I think that's where we kind of come to play. We've placed so many people at airports working for an airport itself. And then, as I mentioned before, the fixed space operator, we have placed people with them as well. So oftentimes if you own a jet, you're having engagement or a partnership with those individuals as well.
Gotcha. But if I'm a big corporation, if I'm Omnicorp, and I come to you and say, look, I feel like our executives should be flying around on a fleet of Gulfstreams, and I need somebody to manage that entire situation. that's when I'm reaching out to you directly.
That's what you're reaching out to us for. And we're going to find you someone who knows enough about that business and that can tell you or help direct you kind of to brokers and to others about how to, elevate your operation so that it is operationally, efficient as well as regulatorily.
Gotcha. Is it usually like the HR department that would reach out to you guys, or?
It is, but usually it's at the direction or suggestion, about the suggestion from a pilot, a chief pilot, or someone who's in the industry who knows the aviation and knows that, we need someone who knows something maybe beyond just human resources for our company. Gotcha.
So, Jason, did you work with an organization like ADK or with ADK in any of the stuff that you had to do in terms of like finding the right people for the right roles?
Yeah, companies like that, just on the candidate side of the house.
Yeah.
Or being contacted, for certain positions.
Yeah. So you told us earlier a little bit of an origin story about how you got into aviation. And I thought it was really cool because I'm a huge like space nerd. So I love, like, I feel like and I don't want to get too far and give away the story, but I think the space shuttle is the coolest like aircraft ever created. Even though it was like hugely inefficient and it broke apart and all the bad stuff that happened, I just thought it looked cool. Growing up, like, it was just iconic, right? It was like this huge thing. But anyway, I'd love to hear how your interest started in this entire world of aviation.
So just early on, in a real brief story, it was in the 4th grade. I do recall that. I went to the Space Center in Huntsville, Alabama, and was just, impressed, not by, I think it was Baker, Mr. Baker, that was the first monkey that went up. But just really the overall operation. And so I kind of gained a little bit of an interest in space, if you will, at that time. And then as I went through high school, I kind of knew I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I knew I wanted to go away to college. And so I was looking at different options, and I heard about Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, which was a fully aviation-oriented university in Daytona Beach, Florida. Sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can go there. It's got a good reputation, and I can become an astronaut.
It happens to be on the beach.
Right.
It happens to be.
And actually, I can go down to I can go down to the coast to the NASA launch pad as well. And so I was like, okay, I'm that way. And so I thought then I would go into engineering and become an astronaut. That wasn't for me because I didn't want to be that space nerd. I learned. I really felt like I was better suited in administration and management, communications, and that field. So,
but it sounds like maybe like by being steeped in that world, you met all these cool people. And we're like, here's an opportunity, right? Like, here's some stuff that I can really like make happen. And it sounds like you have.
Well, thank you. And I feel like I have, and I feel like, the company that I currently work with, ADK Consulting and Executive Search, we have a lot of aviation professionals, and we all seem to get really jazzed by aviation and airports and aircraft. And because of that, I think we excel in the discipline of executive recruiting for the field.
Go ahead, man.
Since 2011, you said it was?
That I've been with them?
Yeah, or when it started?
2003.
Oh, 3. So since that time, how many people do you think you've placed? Just a guess.
Oh my goodness, that's
all of them.
So, I should know that off the top of my head. But it's been thousands. It's been thousands.
Would you say a plethora of candidates?
A plethora of candidates is a great response. Yes. Gotcha. No thousands of individuals. And we've talked to more. And we've had relationships with more. And that's what we, I think, really value is the relationships and the partnerships that we develop. I mean, we don't want to be transactional. We want to be your partner. We want to assist you in your journey for your success in aviation. So that's what we like to do.
Where do you see things going from here in the world of aviation? Because I know, Jason, you had mentioned, you had mentioned like air, like the Deltas and Southwest of the world are scooping up all the talent that they can, which I'm guessing would make your job more difficult, right? I mean, I'm assuming.
I think there's so many unknowns with air mobility.
Yeah.
And that what is really going to occur.
And with AI.
And the unmanned aircraft and AI and what's going to be.
Do you feel like, well, let me ask you this. Do you think AI, and Jason, this might be a question for you, man, because do you feel like, because I haven't even been thinking about that.
Yeah.
But is it going to like displace the need for more people? Or like
just
what?
Like any other industry, right? We look at trucking and, all the thoughts of having trucks going down the road with no drivers, autonomous vehicles. Is that coming to airplanes? Absolutely, it's going to come to airplanes.
Okay.
It's all about the bottom line, right? So an airline or a freight hauler, whatever it's going to be, if they can eliminate cost, which would be a pilot, then they're going to look at it. So, ultimately down the road, we're going to see.
So would the next director of aviation be like just a prompt engineer?
It's going to be an AI generated person. Just like that.
Okay.
No, we still need leaders that can help guide and direct kind of the regulatory compliance. I mean, you can have a checklist. AI can manage that. But what goes into the strategic thinking behind that, I think, cannot necessarily be replaced by AI.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's a good way to put it.
Right.
If somebody wanted to reach out to you to find out more, if I'm head of HR at big corporation and we need to find somebody to maybe look after our fleet or work or manage or whatever our fleet, what's the best way to reach out to ADK?
So what I would really encourage people to do is to take a look at our website, because our website really tells a great story of our company and our placements and our capabilities. So our website is adkexecutivesearch.com.
Nice.
And I mean, again, you mentioned my name at the beginning, Linda Frankl. Happy to help anyone that might need assistance and respond to their inquiries. But you can reach me through that, and
we'll put all your information in the description too.
Excellent,
So so they'll.
But we have a lot of professionals on our team that would be excited to help clients. And like I said before, it's a relationship business, and we feel like we have a lot of touch points and want to continue those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, Jason?
No. Not only we talked a little bit about the corporate aviation stuff, but also the airport administration and that type of
and
world.
FBOs and all of them.
FBOs.
So not just the corporate. If it's the airports themselves that are going to need people. But we actually have one of the better airports here in Indianapolis. So hopefully,
it's really good.
Yeah. Hopefully, there's not too much need there. But
we've worked with them. We've done searches for them.
Good.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
yes.
Cool.
Yes,
cool. That's why we're such a good airport.
Yes, we do know the
people.
president and CEO very well, but we also know a number of other members of their team. So
Nice.
He's a pretty dynamic person.
He is a very dynamic person.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
Yes.
He really is an exceptional leader for his community. And oftentimes airport leaders are community leaders.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, great. Once again, thank you again for joining us on the Jet. And tune in next time where we will help you learn everything that you need to know to own the jet. Thank you for watching Own the Jet. If you want to see more Own the Jet, make sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube and leave a comment telling us what aspect of jet ownership you'd like to know more about. Own the Jet is brought to you by Aspen Aero Group, your trusted partner in private and corporate jet ownership. Learn more at aspenaerogroup.com. This has been a Savage Media production.